Success doesn't start the day people notice you. It doesn't begin when the crowd finally claps or when the world finally says your name. Success begins in silence. It begins in the long hours. No one talks about the early mornings where you push yourself even when you don't feel like it. The late nights where you choose discipline over distraction. The strongest people you admire today didn't build themselves under the spotlight. They built themselves in the shadows, where no one cared, where no one was watching, where every step forward depended only on their will to keep going. That's the part most people miss. They think growth happens in public, but real growth happens when there's no recognition, no reward, no validation, just the raw decision to improve. It's not about proving others wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you won't waste your potential. It's about building such a solid foundation in private that when you finally step into the world, you carry a strength no one can question. The truth is, the world only respects results. And the results you're chasing won't come from talking louder, seeking attention, or announcing every move. They come from the quiet work you put in behind closed doors. That's where champions are made. That's where leaders are born. And that's where you decide whether you'll just survive like everyone else or rise above with the discipline, focus, and patience to create a life worth living. If you want to build yourself so no one ever doubts you, so no one ever disrespects you, so no one ever overlooks you again, you have to master the art of growing in silence. Because the world doesn't need more noise. It needs people with substance. And substance is built when nobody's looking. Part 1, work on your skills when no one is watching. When you think about building yourself, the biggest mistake most people make is waiting for the crowd to clap before they get serious. They want the recognition before they've put in the work. They want the stage before they've practiced the lines. But here's the reality. The real progress, the real growth, the real transformation always happens in the quiet, unseen hours. What you do when nobody is around will always shape what people see when you finally step out in front. The spotlight doesn't create greatness. It only exposes what you've been doing in the shadows. Working on your skills when no one is watching is about creating a standard for yourself that has nothing to do with an audience. It means deciding that you won't wait for applause, approval, or acknowledgement to get better. You choose to improve simply because you refuse to stay the same. That's the difference between those who only look impressive for a moment and those who become unshakable for a lifetime. The private work is where your confidence is born. It's where you build the quiet certainty that says, I don't need to prove myself with words. Because my preparation, think about the hours people waste scrolling through distractions, comparing themselves, and wishing for results. Meanwhile, someone else is in the room practicing, refining, and sharpening their skills. Day after day, quietly putting in the effort while the world is asleep. No one is clapping. No one is praising. But when the opportunity finally comes, that person is ready. They don't need time to prepare because they already paid the price in silence. That's the power of working unseen. It makes you prepared for doors you haven't even knocked on yet. When you're alone, that's when you face the truth. There's no crowd to impress, no audience to please, no mask to wear. Just you, your weaknesses, and your will to improve. That's when you decide whether you're serious about growth or just talking about it. The quiet hours are honest hours. They expose the areas you've been avoiding, but they also give you the space to strengthen them without judgment. That's why private discipline is always greater than public performance. Because what you do when no one sees is what eventually defines what everyone will see. The reward of working in silence isn't just the skill itself, it's the mindset you develop. You begin to trust yourself in a way that no amount of external validation can provide. You know you've put in the hours, you know you've done the work that creates a calm strength that doesn't need to shout or prove anything. People can sense it in your presence, in your confidence, in the way you carry yourself. You don't need to announce your growth. Your growth announces itself. The key is consistency. Improvement is never a single grand effort. It's the accumulation of small, repeated actions over time. You don't master a skill overnight, but you can get a little better every day. That's why it matters what you do when no one is around. Those daily decisions add up. They stack silently until one day the results are undeniable. And by then, you've built a foundation so strong that no criticism, no doubt, and no disrespect can shake it. People often ask how to gain respect. The answer is simple. Earn it in private first. Respect yourself enough to practice when it's boring. Respect yourself enough to work when it feels easier to relax. Respect yourself enough to keep sharpening even when no one notices. That respect you give to yourself will translate into the respect you receive from others. Because people don't respect what you say you'll do, they respect the evidence of what you've actually done. There's also a peace that comes from building in silence. You're not performing for anyone. You're not chasing likes or approval. You're not looking over your shoulder to see who's watching. You're just locked in on your growth, your improvement, your commitment. That's a different kind of focus. It frees you from comparison. It allows you to move at your own pace, to measure yourself against who you were yesterday instead of who someone else is today. That's how true progress happens, quietly, steadily, without noise. When you finally step into the world with the skills you've been quietly building, you won't need to convince anyone of your value. Your preparation will speak for you. Opportunities will recognize you because you've already put yourself in position. And here's the most powerful part. When you work in silence, you don't just build skills, you build character, right? You learn patience, discipline, and resilience. You train yourself to do the work even when the world isn't watching, and that discipline will carry you into every area of life. So the real challenge is not about working harder when the lights are on. The challenge is showing up when there are no lights, no eyes, and no recognition. That's where you separate yourself. That's where you build the version of you that the world won't be able to ignore. Quiet work creates loud results. And if you commit to it, you won't just succeed. You'll develop a strength that no one can take away from you. Part 2. Invest in daily learning and self-education. Success, growth, and wisdom never come by accident. They are built brick by brick through a person's willingness to keep learning every single day. The truth is, no matter how talented, how skilled, or how successful someone becomes, life always demands more from us. The world is moving fast. New challenges appear, new ideas shape industries, and new problems call for solutions. If you stop learning, you don't just stand still, you actually fall behind. That's why the smartest investment you can ever make is in your own education. Not just the kind you find in schools, but the kind you pursue every single day of your life. Daily learning is not about piling up certificates or degrees. It's about growing your mind, sharpening your skills, and preparing yourself for the opportunities that the future will bring. It's about keeping your thoughts alive, your perspective fresh, and your ability to adapt strong. Think about it. The people who rise the highest in life are not always the ones who had the best start. They are the ones who committed to keep learning long after others stopped. They read while others watched. They practiced while others wasted time. They absorbed new ideas while others stayed stuck in old ways. That's the difference daily learning makes. When you commit yourself to daily learning, you are making a statement. I refuse to let my past define my limits. I will grow no matter what. That mindset separates leaders from followers, creators from spectators, and achievers from dreamers. Because here's the reality. What you know today may not be enough for tomorrow. The tools, knowledge, and strategies that worked yesterday may fail you tomorrow. Only a mind that keeps learning is ready for what's next. Now, daily learning doesn't mean sitting in a classroom all day or forcing yourself to read hundreds of pages you don't understand. It means feeding your mind in small, consistent ways that shape your thinking and strengthen your decision-making. It could be reading 10 pages of a book each morning, listening to an insightful podcast during your commute, practicing a skill for 30 minutes each evening, or reflecting on your own experiences and writing down what you learn from them. These simple, daily actions compound over time. One day of learning may not change much, but 1,000 days of learning will transform your entire life. Ask yourself this: how many people around you stopped learning after school? How many decided that once they had a degree, they had all they needed? And then look at their lives years later. Do they seem to be moving forward or staying in the same place? Compare them with the ones who made learning a lifestyle. Those who kept growing, reading, and practicing new skills. Where do they stand today? The difference is night and day. Every new thing you learn becomes another tool in your hands. Every new skill you develop becomes another door you can open. Knowledge multiplies opportunities. It gives you options when others are stuck with none. It gives you confidence when others are uncertain. And it makes you valuable in any environment because people can always rely on someone who is prepared, someone who knows, someone who is growing. Daily learning also builds humility. The more you learn, the more you realize how much there is still to learn. That awareness keeps your ego in check. It reminds you that no matter how far you've come, there is always another level, always another insight, always another skill that could make your life richer and your impact greater. The moment you think you know it all is the moment you begin to decline. But when you adopt the mindset of a lifelong learner, decline never enters the picture because you are always reaching higher. Think of your mind as a garden. If you don't plant good seeds in it every day, weeds will grow on their own. The weeds of negativity, fear, doubt, and laziness creep in when your mind is left unattended. But if you water your mind daily with knowledge, wisdom, and skills, you create growth that pushes the weeds out. You build a mind that is strong, disciplined, and capable of handling challenges with confidence. And here's something important. Daily learning is not just about success in business or money. It's about success in life. Learning makes you a better parent, a better partner, a better friend, and a better human being. When you study communication, you learn how to listen better. When you study psychology, you understand people more deeply. When you study health, you take care of yourself better. When you study history, you understand the present more clearly. Every piece of knowledge makes you stronger, not just in one area, but across your entire life. People often say they don't have time to learn every day. But the truth is, everyone has time. The real question is, what do you give your time to? Hours are lost every day on distractions that add no value, scrolling endlessly, watching meaningless content, or engaging in conversations that go nowhere. If even half of that time were redirected into learning, the difference would be dramatic. Imagine what would happen if you replaced 30 minutes of distraction with 30 minutes of focused learning every single day for 1 year. That's over e-byte Basher's hours of growth. Think about how much smarter, sharper, and more capable you would be. Daily learning doesn't demand perfection, it only demands consistency. Even 10 minutes a day is better than nothing, because it's not about how much you do in one sitting. It's about what you build over time. Just like exercise, the benefits come not from one intense workout, but from showing up every day and putting in the effort. Over time, your mind becomes fit, agile, and powerful. The beauty of daily learning is that it compounds. Knowledge builds on knowledge. Skills layer on top of skills. Insights connect with one another. Over time, your understanding deepens in ways you never expected. And one day, people will look at you and wonder how you became so wise, so capable, so far ahead. They won't realize that it wasn't one giant leap. It was thousands of small steps, taken every day, through your commitment to self-education. There's also freedom in self-education. Formal education may give you a foundation, but self-education allows you to design your own future. You can choose what you study, what you practice, and what you focus on. You're not limited by someone else's curriculum. You are in charge, and that freedom is powerful because it means you can adapt faster, learn exactly what you need, and carve out a path that is unique to you. At the heart of it all, daily learning and self-education are acts of self-respect. They show that you take yourself seriously, that you value your potential, and that you refuse to waste the gift of your mind. When you invest in yourself, the world takes notice. People respect those who respect themselves. And one of the clearest signs of self-respect is a person who refuses to stop learning. So the choice is simple. You can live your days repeating what you already know, or you can live your days expanding what you know. You can stay the same, or you can grow. You can wait for life to teach you the hard way, or you can prepare yourself through daily learning. The people who rise, the people who inspire, the people who achieve, these are the ones who chose growth every single day. At the end of your life, you won't regret the books you read, the skills you gained, or the time you spent learning. You will regret the time wasted on things that didn't matter, the opportunities missed because you weren't prepared, and the potential left unused because you didn't sharpen your mind. Don't let that be your story. Make the decisions today to invest in daily learning and self-education. It is the most valuable investment you will ever make, and the returns will last for a lifetime. Part 3. Build discipline through small, consistent habits. Discipline is not built in one day, and it doesn't come from one grand decision. It is built in the quiet, ordinary choices you make again and again. The truth is, life doesn't demand perfection from you, but it does demand consistency. Small actions repeated daily create strength. They build character. They shape the kind of person you become. When people think about discipline, they often imagine something overwhelming, like waking up at 6 a.m. every day, running 10 miles before sunrise, or giving up every comfort in life. That picture scares many away. But real discipline doesn't start there. Real discipline begins with the small things, the habits you practice every day without making excuses. It starts with keeping promises to yourself, no matter how small they seem. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't brush for 4 hours once a month and expect healthy teeth. You brush a few minutes every day. The same principle applies to your mind, your body, and your goals. Discipline isn't built by rare, extreme effort. It's built by steady, daily habits that look simple in the moment but add up to massive results over time. Every person you admire, every person you call disciplined, didn't start out extraordinary. They became extraordinary because they mastered the ordinary. They built routines, created habits, and stayed consistent with them. That's what makes discipline powerful. It's available to anyone who chooses it. Discipline is a muscle. Just like in the gym, you don't lift the heaviest weight on your first day. You start small, you repeat, you grow stronger. Then, what once felt impossible becomes natural. That's exactly how habits work. Small habits, repeated with consistency, grow into discipline that makes you unstoppable. Imagine starting with something as small as drinking an extra glass of water every morning. It may not look like much, but over time, that action rewires your brain. It teaches you, I can keep commitments. And once you prove to yourself that you can keep small commitments, you build confidence to take on bigger ones. This is why small habits are so powerful. They build momentum. The problem is, many people wait for motivation before they act. But motivation comes and goes. No one feels inspired If your life is built only on motivation, you'll be inconsistent because emotions are never stable. Discipline is what carries you when motivation disappears. And the easiest way to build discipline is by anchoring it in habits so small they're hard to break. Think of someone who wants to read more books. If they aim to read for 2 hours every day, right away, they'll likely fail after a few days because life gets in the way. But if they commit to just 10 minutes a day, the habit sticks. Once the habit is in place, it grows. 10 minutes becomes 20. 20 becomes an hour. Before they realize it, they're reading more than they ever imagined. Not because they forced themselves, but because they built the discipline step by step. Discipline through small habits also protects you against excuses. Excuses usually sound like "I don't have time" or "I'm too tired." But when the habit is small, those excuses lose their power. Everyone has 5 minutes. Everyone has room for one simple step. And once you do that small step, it often gives you the energy to keep going. Here's the truth. Most people miss. Discipline isn't about suffering, it's about freedom. When you discipline yourself through consistent habits, you free yourself from chaos, wasted time, and regret. You stop being controlled by moods and impulses. Instead, you take control of your day. That's freedom. Think about your mornings. If you wake up whenever you feel like it, check your phone, and rush into the day, you live in reaction. But if you build the habit of waking up at a set time, spending even 5 minutes in reflection, exercise, or learning, you start the day on your terms. That small habit sets the tone for everything else. Another powerful truth is that discipline compounds. Each small habit strengthens your ability to stick with the next one. If you can train yourself to keep your desk organized every evening, you train your mind to value order. That carries into your work. If you can train yourself to exercise for 15 minutes daily, you train your mind to value health. That carries into your food choices. Every habit reinforces another. People sometimes underestimate small habits because the results aren't immediate. Drinking water today won't change your health overnight. Reading 10 pages today won't make you a genius tomorrow. Saving a small amount won't make you rich instantly. But that's the point. Discipline is not about quick results. It's about building a foundation. And the foundation you lay with small habits becomes unshakable over years. Think about money. Saving $5 a day doesn't look like much. But over time, with consistency, it turns into thousands. The same applies to discipline. Small habits are deposits you make into your future. They may seem small now, but one day the balance shocks you. Discipline, every time you stick to a habit, no matter how small, you send a message to yourself. This is who I am. When you write daily, you see yourself as a writer. When you train daily, you see yourself as someone who values fitness. When you study daily, you see yourself as someone committed to growth. Over time, your habits shape how you see yourself, and that identity becomes hard to break. It's not about being perfect. No one is perfect. You will miss days. You will stumble. But discipline is not destroyed by failure. It is strengthened by returning. The key is not to give up after a missed day. The key is to remind yourself, I don't need perfection. I need consistency. Because one day missed doesn't erase the habit. Quitting does. Another thing about discipline, it makes hard things easier. When you first start a habit, it feels heavy. But as you repeat it, it becomes automatic. That's the power of habit. It reduces the effort required. Once you train your brain, the habit takes less energy, leaving you free to focus on bigger challenges. This is how disciplined people seem to do so much. They aren't forcing themselves every day. Their habits carry them. Think of an athlete. To the outside world, their training looks like sacrifice, but to them, it's automatic. They've built the habit so deeply that skipping feels stranger than showing up. That's the level discipline can reach when it's rooted in small, consistent habits. The real question is, what habits are you building? Every day, whether you notice or not, you are creating habits. Sleeping in, complaining, procrastinating, these are also habits. The problem is, they weaken your discipline. They make you a prisoner to comfort. If you don't choose your habits carefully, you'll still build them, but they'll be the wrong ones. And the cost will be high. But here's the good news. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start with one habit, one small, clear, consistent action, master it, then build another. Brick by brick, your discipline grows. For example, decide to make your bed every morning. Simple. Takes less than 2 minutes. But it builds order and sets a tone of responsibility. Add a habit of reading 10 pages a day. That's less than 20 minutes, but in a year you finish multiple books. Add a habit of saving a small amount daily. That builds financial strength. None of these habits are huge alone, but together they create a disciplined life. Discipline also gives you resilience. Life will test you. Problems will come. Without discipline, you'll break under pressure. But with discipline, you endure. Your habits anchor you. When everything feels uncertain, your daily routines give you stability. That's why discipline through small habits isn't just about success. It's about survival. And most importantly, discipline shapes your future. What you repeatedly do determines what you become, not what you occasionally do. Not what you do when you feel inspired, what you do every day. Small, consistent habits decide whether your future is strong or weak, whether you rise or fall. So the choice is in front of you. You can wait for motivation that may never come, or you can build discipline one habit at a time. You can rely on emotion, or you can rely on consistency. You can live on excuses, or you can live on discipline. Small habits look ordinary, but their impact is extraordinary. They are the roots of greatness, the hidden foundation of every strong life. Build them, keep them, and they will carry you further than talent, luck, or motivation ever could. Your life will not be defined by what you occasionally do. It will be defined by what you consistently do. That is the power of discipline. That is the power of small, consistent habits. Part 4. Improve your health and energy in silence. When you strip life down to its basics, everything you want, success, relationships, growth, peace, depends on one thing, your health. Without health, every dream feels heavy. Without energy, every task becomes harder than it should be. People often chase wealth, status, or recognition, but they neglect the very foundation that allows them to enjoy those things: a strong body, a clear mind, and steady energy. Taking care of your health is not about showing off at the gym or posting transformation pictures online. True improvement happens quietly in the background of your life. It's in the foods you choose, the hours of rest you honor, the movement you commit to, and the way you care for your mind. These things don't need applause. They don't need to be announced. The reward shows up naturally through higher energy, sharper focus, and a longer, fuller life. When you live with poor health, the world feels heavier. Small challenges look like mountains. Your confidence dips. Your productivity shrinks. You find yourself short on patience, unable to think clearly, always dragging through the day. But when you build health silently, you notice a different world. Your mornings feel lighter, your thoughts are clearer, and your spirit feels stronger. You carry yourself with quiet power. The mistake many people make is believing health requires dramatic actions, extreme diets, brutal workouts, or chasing the latest fitness trend. But the truth is, health is built in the small, steady decisions you make daily. It's built in silence, when no one is around to clap for you. It's built when you say yes to water instead of soda, when you go for a walk instead of another hour on the couch, when you sleep at a reasonable time instead of scrolling until your eyes burn. These are not glamorous actions, but they are the ones that change your life. The first key is nutrition. Food is not just something that fills your stomach, it fuels your body. Every bite you eat is either feeding disease or feeding strength. Most people eat for taste in the moment, not for health in the long run. They load their bodies with sugar, processed foods, and empty calories, then wonder why they feel tired and unmotivated. If you want energy, you must eat for energy. Whole foods, fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and clean water, they don't just fuel your body, they sharpen your mind. What's powerful about silent improvement is that you don't need to announce your food choices to anyone. You don't need to debate about diets. You just quietly make decisions that serve you. Over time, your body responds, your skin clears, your energy rises, your weight balances, and your confidence grows. You don't need to prove anything. Your presence speaks for itself. The second key is movement. Your body was designed to move, not sit all day. A strong body doesn't come from wishing, it comes from use. The good news is you don't need fancy equipment or long hours in the gym to start. Even walking daily, stretching, or doing bodyweight exercises at home builds strength and vitality. The goal is consistency, not perfection. Quietly, in your own space, you create the habit of movement. And the reward is not just physical, it's mental. Exercise clears your mind, reduces stress, and lifts your mood. The third key is rest. Many people underestimate sleep. They grind endlessly, sacrificing rest as if the body is a machine, but lack of sleep slowly destroys health. It steals focus, weakens the immune system, and shortens lifespan. True discipline is not just about working hard, it's also about resting properly. Going to bed on time, keeping a calm nighttime routine, avoiding distractions before sleep, these are quiet habits that restore your body. When you sleep well, your energy multiplies, your thoughts become sharper, and your discipline grows stronger. The fourth key is mental health. Physical strength without peace of mind is incomplete. Stress, anxiety, and constant negative thinking can drain you faster than physical illness. Caring for your mind doesn't always mean meditation retreats or therapy sessions. Although those can help, sometimes it's as simple as taking 10 quiet minutes in the morning to breathe, reflect, or write your thoughts down. Sometimes it's about reducing toxic influences. Less news, less comparison, less unnecessary noise. Your mind needs silence to recharge, just like your body needs sleep. Improving your health silently means taking ownership. No one can exercise for you. No one can eat for you. No one can sleep for you. These choices are deeply personal, and when you make them consistently, you don't need recognition. The reward is in how you feel every day. Now, think about what happens when your health improves. Energy is not just for exercise. It spills into every part of your life. When you eat clean, you think faster at work. When you sleep well, you're more patient with family. When you move your body, you release stress instead of holding it inside. Health doesn't just improve your body. It improves your relationships, your productivity, and your happiness. Silence is powerful in this process because when you work on health quietly, you avoid the trap of showing off. Many people announce their fitness journeys, but when the excitement fades, they quit. Quiet progress lasts longer. It's not fueled by applause, it's fueled by commitment. And when you finally achieve results, more energy, better posture, stronger muscles, you don't need to say anything. People will see it. They'll notice how you carry yourself, how alert you look, how much life you have in your step. Building health quietly also teaches humility. You realize improvement is not instant. It's not about quick fixes. It's about patience with your body, patience with the process. You learn to appreciate small wins, losing a few pounds, sleeping better, feeling more awake in the morning. These may look small, but they are victories that build momentum. And there's another truth. Health is not only about adding years to your life, it's about adding life to your years. What good is success if you don't have the strength to enjoy it? What good is wealth if you spend it on hospital bills? What good is recognition if your body breaks down under pressure? Health gives you the stamina to enjoy the rewards of your hard work. Improving your health silently also protects you from comparison. You don't measure your progress against others. You measure it against yourself. You don't need to look like someone on a magazine cover. You just need to be stronger, healthier, and more energized than you were yesterday. Quiet progress is personal progress. It's not about being better than others. It's about being better for yourself. Every choice adds up. Every healthy meal, every glass of water, every workout, every good night's sleep, they add up just like healthy choices do. The body always keeps score. And the truth is, you can't cheat your body. You might fool others, but your body knows if you want strength, you must earn it. If you want energy, you must create it. If you want long life, you must build it. The process is simple, but not easy. It requires consistency. It requires saying no to unhealthy temptations, saying yes to routines that serve you, and staying patient when results are slow. But the payoff is priceless. You gain more energy than you thought possible. You live longer, you live stronger, you live freer, and you do all of it quietly without needing to prove anything. That is true power. When your energy speaks louder than your words, when your health becomes your confidence, when your strength becomes your presence. Because in the end, health is not something you show. It's something you live. It's the foundation that supports everything else you build. And the stronger that foundation, the higher you can rise. Strengthen your mind with reflection and reading. Strengthening the mind is not something that happens by chance. It is a result of choice, of habits, of where you decide to place your time and energy. Two of the most powerful tools available to every human being are reflection and reading. They cost little, they require no special talent, and yet their return is limitless. If you learn how to use them daily, you will carry a sharp, calm, and resilient mind that allows you to handle whatever life sets before you. Reflection is the ability to step away from the noise of the world and the rush of your own thoughts, to look at yourself and your experiences with honesty. It is not simply thinking, because thinking often runs wild and aimless. Reflection is focused. It is taking a moment to examine what happened, why it happened, and what can be learned from it. In a time when distraction is everywhere, reflection becomes rare, and because it is rare, it becomes powerful. The person who knows how to pause and reflect sees life with more clarity than the person who is always moving but never thinking. Reading is the second tool. Books are like long conversations with the greatest minds who ever lived. They preserve lessons, mistakes, victories, and struggles of people who walked this earth long before us. Through reading, you borrow wisdom without having to make all the mistakes yourself. You compress years, even decades of someone's learning into hours of your own life. Reading reshapes your mind, broadens your vision, and sharpens your understanding of the world. Together, reflection and reading form a partnership. Reflection makes you examine your own life. Reading introduces you to the lives and lessons of others. Reflection without reading can make you blind to new ideas, trapped in your own limited perspective. Reading without reflection can make you full of knowledge, but unable to apply it. When you join both, you create balance, wisdom that is both personal and universal. Imagine the strength of a mind trained by these two forces. You experience something during the day, perhaps a challenge at work, a conflict with a friend, or even a moment of success. At the end of the day, you reflect, you ask yourself, what really happened here? What did I do well? What could I do differently? Then you pick up a book that speaks about human behavior, leadership, or personal growth. You see how others faced similar issues, how they solved them, and what lessons they drew. When you put reflection and reading side by side, your mind grows faster, deeper, and stronger than you can imagine. Strengthening your mind through reflection begins with silence. Find a quiet place where you are free from interruptions. It could be your room, a corner of a park, or even sitting in your car before walking into the house. Set aside just 10 to 15 minutes daily. During that time, review your day. Do not rush. Walk through the events in your memory as if you are watching a film. Ask yourself questions. Why did I feel that way in that moment? What triggered that reaction? Did I act with patience or lose my control? Reflection is not about judgment. It is about clarity. By revisiting your own life with honesty, you give yourself a second chance to understand what you missed in the moment. Over time, this practice builds emotional intelligence and mental control. Reading, on the other hand, requires discipline, but also curiosity. Many people avoid books because they believe they have no time, or that books are too heavy or boring. But the truth is, reading is like training your body. At first, it feels like effort. You may only manage a few pages before your mind drifts. But if you commit to it daily, your capacity grows. Start with topics that interest you: biographies, self-development, history, even novels with deep lessons. Over time, widen your subjects. Stretch your thinking. A strong mind is built not on comfort, but on challenge. Every book is a workout for the brain, expanding the muscles of thought. Reflection also sharpens memory. Each day you experience countless moments, but without reflection, they slip away. You forget the lessons. You lose the meaning. When you reflect, you capture the lesson of the day. You turn experience into wisdom. Reading then gives you the language and the concepts to describe those lessons. A person who reflects but does not read may sense truths but struggle to explain them. A person who reads but does not reflect may quote wisdom but fail to live it. When both are combined, you not only understand life, you articulate it and apply it. Consider this: a person goes through a failure without reflection. They simply feel pain and frustration. They move on without learning, and the same mistake repeats. Another person goes through the same failure but takes time to reflect. They ask why it happened, what choices led to it, and what could be done differently. That reflection already strengthens. But then they read the story of another person who failed and recovered, perhaps in a biography or a business book. They see strategies, they see mindset, they see solutions. Suddenly, the failure is not just an event, it becomes a turning point. That is the power of reflection joined with reading. A strong mind is not measured by how much information it holds, but by how it uses information to solve problems, stay steady under pressure, and see clearly when others are confused. Reflection clears the noise. Reading provides the substance. Together, they give you a mind that cannot easily be shaken. Another way reflection strengthens your mind is by slowing you down. The modern world rewards speed. Everyone is rushing, multitasking, moving from one thing to another. Reflection forces you to pause. It reminds you that speed without direction is wasted effort. Reflection makes you thoughtful, deliberate, and intentional. That alone builds resilience. You stop being pulled in every direction, and instead you choose your own path with awareness. Reading, on the other hand, transports you to other perspectives. When you read philosophy, you see how humans wrestled with meaning centuries ago. When you read history, you see patterns of rise and fall in nations. When you read psychology, you learn why people behave as they do. All of this strengthens your understanding of the present. It gives you perspective that most people lack. While others are trapped in their narrow view of life, You are enriched by thousands of voices, thousands of experiences, and thousands of years of accumulated knowledge. Over time, reflection and reading create depth. Depth is rare today. Many people live on the surface, quick reactions, shallow opinions, constant distractions. But depth is what makes a mind strong. Reps means you think before you speak, you observe before you judge, you learn before you decide. Reps creates patience, wisdom, and control. A strong mind is not the loudest, it is the most stable. It is not the one that reacts fastest, it is the one that responds with clarity. The true test of a strong mind is not in times of comfort, but in times of pressure. When everything is uncertain, when problems pile up, when emotions run high, the weak mind breaks. The strong mind remains steady like a calm center in the storm. Reflection trains this steadiness. Reading equips it with tools, and together they give you a foundation that cannot easily be moved. Reflection also, when you look back at your day, you notice the small victories, the blessings, the moments of kindness you may have ignored. Gratitude itself strengthens the mind because it shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present. Reading then expands gratitude by showing you lives far harder than yours. People who endured much and still found strength. This combination makes you more resilient, more appreciative, more capable of carrying life's weight with strength. If you want to strengthen your mind, begin with a commitment. Every day, give time to both reflection and reading. 10 minutes of reflection, 20 minutes of reading. That alone can reshape your life in a year. Over time, increase it, but start small and stay consistent. You will begin to notice changes. Your reactions will be calmer. Your thoughts will be sharper. Your understanding will be deeper. The world is full of people who train their bodies but ignore their minds. A strong body without a strong mind cannot carry you far. The body eventually weakens with age, but a strong mind can remain sharp, powerful, and steady for life. Reflection and reading are the lifelong habits that keep it alive. So, choose reflection, choose reading. Train your mind as carefully as you would train your body. Make silence your teacher and books your companions. Over time, you will not only grow wiser, but also stronger, calmer, and more prepared for every challenge ahead. Part 6. Let results speak louder than announcements. There comes a point in life where you realize that talking about change is not the same as creating change. Promises don't build anything. Declarations don't put food on the table. Announcements may feel powerful in the moment, but they carry no weight unless they are backed by proof. What gives strength to your words is not the sound of them. It is the reality that stands behind them. The truth is simple. Your results will always be louder, stronger, and more convincing than anything you say. The world today is full of noise. People speak of their plans before they've taken a single step. They tell everyone about their future goals, their next big move, their new habits they'll start tomorrow. And the moment they receive praise for the idea, they feel as if something has already been accomplished. But nothing has been done. Words alone don't carry you forward. They may create attention, but they do not create progress. That is why the people who truly rise are not the ones constantly announcing what they will do. They are the ones quietly working day after day until the results stand so clearly that no announcement is needed. When you look closely, you notice something powerful. People who constantly announce their intentions often fall short. They waste energy trying to convince others of what they will become. But those who stay quiet channel that energy into doing the work. They focus on progress instead of validation. They put their head down and move step by step without looking for applause. And when the time comes, they don't need to explain themselves because their work has already spoken. Results have a kind of authority that words can never reach. You can argue with someone's claims, but you cannot argue with evidence. If a person says they're disciplined, it may or may not be true. But if they show up every day with consistency, if you see the track record of their actions, there is no debate. If someone says they will be successful, you can doubt them. But if they build a thriving business, if you see the proof in their achievements, their words are no longer necessary. The result is the proof. Think about this in your own life. How many times have you heard someone declare that they were going to change everything? Maybe they said they were going to lose weight, start a business, save money, or commit to growth. The words came strong, but then weeks later, nothing had changed. Now, think of someone else, maybe quieter, who didn't speak about their goals as much. They just kept showing up. They kept practicing, kept learning, kept sacrificing, kept moving forward. Months later, you see the difference. Their actions made the statement for them. This is why silence combined with action is so powerful. It takes away the distraction of trying to impress others and allows you to focus fully on impressing yourself through results. You no longer chase recognition, you chase progress. You no longer spend time proving your intentions. You spend time proving your abilities. And when the outcome arrives, there is no debate, no defense, no explanation required. The proof is visible, but it takes discipline to live this way. It is tempting to announce. It feels good to share your plans because it gives you instant acknowledgement. It feels like momentum, but it is false momentum. Real progress happens when you take those same words and translate them into daily action. Every hour you spend talking about what you will do is an hour not spent building it. Every time you seek approval for your plans, you lose energy that could have gone into execution. Silence protects you from this trap. Silence saves your strength for where it matters, on the work itself. And there is another side to silence. Not everyone around you wants to see you succeed. Some will discourage you, some will criticize you, and some will secretly hope you fail. If you constantly announce your goals, you give them the chance to feed you negativity before you've even started. But when you hold your plans close and move in quiet, you give them nothing to attack. You deny them the chance to weaken your drive. By the time they see your results, it is too late for their doubt to matter. The work has already been done. It also protects you from arrogance. When you constantly announce your achievements, it's easy to start believing your own words more than your actions. You fall in love with the image of success instead of doing the hard work of becoming successful. But when you focus on, you remind yourself every day that the only thing that matters is what is real. You measure yourself not by how many people applaud you, but by how far you have come in practice, in growth, in real achievement. That mindset builds humility and keeps you grounded. Consider how people gain respect in the long run. Respect is not given to the loudest person in the room. It is given to the one who produces consistently, the one whose actions line up with their words, the one who quietly delivers more than others expected. Think of an athlete who never bragged but trained harder than everyone else. And when game day came, their performance left the crowd speechless. Think of a leader who didn't have to announce their vision every day, but built something so powerful that people could see it with their own eyes. Those are the people who earn respect, not because they demanded it, but because they proved it. The truth is that when results speak, they last longer. Words fade quickly. Announcements are forgotten in days. But results remain. They become part of your story, part of your reputation. People may not remember what you said, but they will always remember what you did. They may forget the promises, but they will remember the outcomes. That is why results are more valuable than announcements. They are lasting proof. Think also about how results affect your own confidence. When you announce something, you may get a short boost of pride. But when you achieve something, the pride is deeper, stronger, and long-lasting. When you look back at what you've built with your own hands, you carry an inner strength that no compliment could ever replace. That strength stays with you. It becomes part of your identity. It tells you without words that you are capable. To live by this principle means training yourself to be patient. It means understanding that your time will come, but it doesn't have to come through noise. It comes through consistent effort. Day by day, brick by brick, you build something real. At first, no one may notice. At first, it may feel invisible. But if you stay with it, the results will grow too big to ignore. And when they do, they will speak with a force greater than any announcement. Even in relationships, this principle matters. Promises are easy to make. I'll change, I'll do better, I'll be more committed. But those words mean little until they are backed by actions. Real trust is not built through announcements. It is built through consistent results. If you want to be trusted, don't speak it, live it. If you want to be respected, don't demand it, earn it. If you want to be remembered, don't announce greatness, achieve it. So, keep your focus steady. Don't waste your voice on promises. Protect your energy for the work itself. Build in silence. Grow without needing to be seen. Push forward without asking for applause. And when the time comes, your results will make the announcement for you. And they will do it in a way far more powerful than words ever could. The moment your results show, the conversation changes. You no longer have to explain. You no longer have to argue. You no longer have to convince. People will see, and that sight will be enough. Because in the end, the world doesn't judge you by what you said you would do. It judges you by what you did. And if you have built something real, something lasting, something undeniable, then your results will always be louder than your announcements. There comes a moment where you have to decide who you want to be remembered as. Do you want to be known as the person who was always announcing, always promising, always declaring what was about to happen? Or do you want to be remembered as the one who simply did it, who quietly worked, and when the dust settled, had something real to show? That choice shapes not only how the world sees you, but how you see yourself. Because at the end of the day, your life is not measured in intentions, it is measured in results. You can talk for years about how you will change, but the world only takes notice when you actually change. You can tell everyone about your plans to grow, but the respect only comes when they see the proof of your growth. You can promise to start again and again, but the only thing that counts is when you follow through long enough that the results cannot be denied. And this is the beauty of focusing on results over announcements. You begin to live for yourself, not for the applause. You stop seeking validation in the form of quick approval, and you start seeking fulfillment in the form of real progress. The compliments lose their importance. The attention doesn't matter as much. What matters is the work. What matters is what you build, what you achieve, what you carry forward into tomorrow. The people who rise above the rest, they all share this in common. They don't waste their time convincing others of what they will become. They are too busy becoming it. They are too focused on sharpening their craft, too invested in staying consistent, too committed to building something lasting. And when the day comes that people notice, they don't even need to speak because the results make the announcement for them. If you truly want respect, if you truly want to live a life that commands admiration, then stop focusing on being heard and focus on being seen through your actions. People may doubt your words, they may question your promises, but they cannot argue with evidence. They cannot deny progress when it is visible, real, and undeniable. The strongest argument you will ever make in this life is not with your voice, it is with your results. So walk away from the temptation to keep telling people what you're going to do. Walk away from the need to explain your plans. Walk away from the habit of seeking approval before you even begin. Put all of that energy back into the work itself. Build in silence, grow with consistency, stay patient long enough for the results to speak on your behalf. And when they finally do, they will echo louder than anything you could have said. And the truth is, once you reach that point, you won't even feel the need to announce anymore. Because the pride will not come from people's reactions. It will come from looking at your own life and knowing that you put in the effort, that you stayed the course, and that you made it real. That inner confidence will outweigh any applause you could have received along the way. Your life does not need constant announcements. It needs evidence. It needs proof. It needs results. And the more you commit to this principle, the more powerful you will become, not only in the eyes of others, but in the way you carry yourself each day. Because when you know you have results behind you, you don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to argue for respect. You don't need to chase validation. You already have the proof, and the proof will always be louder than the promise. So, move forward with this in your heart. Do the work quietly. Keep showing up. Stay steady. Build your results and let them do the talking. Because in the end, those who announce may be heard for a moment, but those who deliver are remembered forever.